Namaste everyone, those who are watching this program, and my dear children, you are all safe at home, I hope, and you are all following the precautions that are given by the government. So, have you ever thought why this virus has given the name Corona? Observe the slide. See, you might have seen many times even in televisions the corona shape. So, if you see the coronavirus under the microscope, the outer body, the projections are coming out. So, it just resembles how the sun outer layer is called corona, where the very hot gases are coming out of the sun. So, it resembles it. So, it is named as coronavirus. Now, the most important precautions, what they are saying is, we have to wear the mask. See, this is the mask which we wear when we come out of our home. So, why they are suggesting such a mask? So, this mask is having number of layers in it, so that the air gap or the pores of the mask are very, very less when compared to the size of the coronavirus. And do you know, the size of the coronavirus varies from 0.05 microns to 0.2 microns. Now, how scientists know the size? Here, the size means they measured. So, today my topic is measurement. How this word measurement came? This measurement came from the Latin word mensura, which means measurement. So, here today we are going to do some topics related with measurement. And first of all, why should we read measurement? For example, see, as soon as you get up in the morning, you will look at the clock. If the clock shows 4 o'clock, you feel, let me sleep sometime. And if it is 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, then you will wake up and do your work. Similarly, that means when we are waking up, we are looking at the clock, we are measuring time there. Now, you might have observed when your mother is cooking food. See, when she is cooking rice, she don't put like this, guppullatoti, dosallatoti poyar kada rice ni. So, they use such type of measuring jar to cook rice. And you may go to the tailor to stitch a night dress for you. And you may use your PD madam might have measured your height, your weight. And while cooking also, we use how much turmeric powder, how much mirchi powder. So, all these come under measurement in our daily life. So, now the question comes, can I measure everything? Here, there are some measurable quantities and non-measurable quantities. See, measurable quantities means, suppose for example, as we did, the height, weight, mass, time, force, work, acceleration, velocity, all these are measurable quantities. And there are some emotions, feelings like kindness, sadness, humor, beauty, belief, good dream, so untidiness, such feelings or emotions, those are not measurable. So, in physics, we say physical quantity. So, physical quantity means the one which is measurable. See, you have to remember two things for a physical quantity. See, whenever I say physical quantity, it will have two things, one as magnitude, second one unit. Example, if I say today I purchased 5 kg of tomatoes, 5 shows the magnitude and kg shows the unit. And these are the physical quantities. Now, how many the fundamental quantities are there? Next we comes in physics, fundamental quantity. See, fundamental quantity means the quantity which cannot be said in other terms. So the quantity, if I say the scale, if I say the pen length is 7 centimeters, then it has to be measured. If I know time, if I know force, I can't get the length of this pen. So such quantities, for example, length, mass, time, these are to be measured. So such quantities are called as fundamental quantities. And the units which we use, for example, centimeter, gram, second, these are fundamental units. Now, with these three fundamental units, can we explain everything? No. Suppose if I want to know the area of this box, length into length. So 2 times length into breadth, if I do, I will get the area. So 2 times I am using the fundamental quantity and I have derived one more quantity, that is area. So similarly, length into length into length, that is volume. So 3 times I used fundamental quantity and I derived a new quantity, that is volume. So if I divide mass by volume, I will get density. So this is also a derived quantity. The same thing with units also. For area, it is centimeter square. For volume, it is centimeter cube. And density, it is gram per centimeter cube. So these are the derived quantities. So now, just now we did what are fundamental quantities. The length, mass, time are fundamental quantities. Let us go back, like what is the history of these measurements? Because in those days where the people need to do a trade, to do agriculture, to do construction, so they needed the measurements. So first, during 3rd, 4th century, King Henry, he has given his foot length as a standard length. And in those days, even prehistoric people, they used their body parts to say something measurement, like this much of fish, this much of snake, like that they used to say. And what about the mass? See, as per the records, Babylonians are the oldest ones who took some stones to measure the quantity, the mass. And even the Mesopotamian culture, they used the balance with some stones to compare the weights. And coming to time, so in those days they used sand clock, water clock and sundial, because most of the time we are based on the sunlight. And even now some old people are there who can say the time of the day based on the sun shadow. And even in the 6th century, King Alfred, he invented a candle which is graduated. So as the candle melts, they can estimate the time. And even in the ruins, they got the oil lamps and all. For example, I will show a model of sand clock. See, if you say here, observe the pink color and the violet color, the sand is falling down. So in some places they used sand clock to measure the time, and in some places they used sand clock to estimate time for a task. So now coming to the conventional units. So though they are old ones, even now we are using the hand span, the foot and the cubit. For example, today I purchased flowers, and these flowers, when she gave me, it is 1 cubit of her size, but after coming home, when I measured it, it is like this much only. So this much short it is. So this is the problem what scientists thought. So during 18th century, they thought of having, as science is developing, they thought of having some standardized units. Otherwise, as it was recorded, nearly 2400 measurements, the units are there throughout the world, which is very difficult for us to follow. So then they, in 1824, first they gave FPS system, where foot is used to measure length and pound is used to measure weight or mass, and second, time is used in second. So next, in 1874, they have given CGS system, where length is measured in centimeter, mass is measured in gram, time in second. Then in 1889, they gave MKS system. So as per MKS system, length is measured in meter and mass is measured in kilogram and time in seconds. Now the question comes, can we explain the entire physics only with these three fundamental quantities? No, it's not possible. For that reason, in 1960, they conducted a meeting and then they added some more fundamental quantities. So they take the fundamental quantities, the three, length, mass and time, as meter, kilogram and second. Then they took electric current as fundamental quantity, and it is shown with the ampere, the symbol A. Next, temperature. So temperature is measured in Kelvin and it is, the symbol is K. Next, the amount of very small substances, the amount of substance is measured in mole. So lastly, luminous intensity is measured in candela. So as per the table here, as per the slide shows, here only 7 fundamental quantities are there, but we have 2 supplementary quantities also. For example, those are plane angle, how to measure angle. So radian is the unit, and solid angle is measured in steradian. So including the 2 supplementary quantities, now the total quantities in SI system are 9. So next, if we have only this meter as per the SI system, can we measure entire thing? No. See, we have in nature very large distances and very small distances. For those distances, how to count? So you are all aware of the scale, where the units are given here, the 0 and 10 small lines will be there, those are mm, that is millimeters, and then 1 centimeter. Like this you will have 30 centimeters, this is having. Now each line, the small line is 1 mm here. So here the slide shows LC, that is least count. Least count of vernier calipers is 0.1 mm. That means if I take this 1 mm of length on scale and if I divide it into 10 pieces, each piece, each division length, that can be measured using vernier calipers. And if the same 1 mm is divided into 100 divisions, the smallest division can be measured by using screw gauge. So with the help of screw gauge, we measure the thickness of the wires, the electrical wires and all. And using spirometer, the 1 mm, 1,000th of part of 1 mm can be measured. See, the spirometer is used to find the radius of curvature of watch glass, or some people may be using the contact lenses. So for those it is used. So next, how to find or how to measure very long distances. For example, astronomical unit. See, one astronomical unit. What is astronomical unit? Astronomical unit is the distance between Earth to Sun. So that is considered as astronomical unit. So 1 astronomical unit is 1.5 into 10 to the power of 11 meters. Not only that, we have even light year. See, light year is very large distance, and the interstellar distances are measured with light year. And do you know how much is light year? See, light year is in 1 second. That means your clock, when it moves the seconds hand, 1 second it is. In that 1 second, light can travel 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters. So the velocity of light, the speed of light is 3 into 10 to the power of 8 meters per second, where in small second light can travel that much of distance. So if you multiply it with 3600, that is number of seconds in 1 hour, and again multiply it with 24, that is number of hours in a day, multiply it with 365, so throughout the year, then we get around 9.5 into 10 to the power of 15 meters, which is 1 light year. So more than that, we have 1 parsec. So parsec means it is equal to 3.26 light years. Such a large quantity it is. Now coming to small distances. When I started my lecture, I started with the size of COVID-19. So it is in microns. I used the unit as microns. So 1 micron is 10 to the power of minus 6 meters, where the small bacteria is measured in that units. And nanometer, the molecules are of the order of nanometers, so 10 to the power of minus 9. And you know, recently nanotechnology is developed a lot, and even Tatas, they named their smallest car as nano. So coming to the measurement of atom, atom is measured in angstrom. 1 angstrom is 10 to the power of minus 10 meters. And in an atom, nucleus is there, which is very, very small. The size of nucleus is measured in Fermi. Fermi is 10 to the power of minus 15 meters. So now coming to the different, let us move on to mathematics. How the measurement? So if I take a square where length is equal to width, L into L, that is L square is the area. Now how to find the area of a rectangle? Rectangle is like the length is different and width is different. So L into B, that is the formula for area of a rectangle. And triangle. So the formula of triangle is half base, that is the base length of the triangle and height of the triangle. So the circle. So the circle is having a radius where it is the distance from the center point to its perimeter to its circumference, that is radius, pi r square, where pi is 3.14, that is 22/7. And how to find the volume? See, volume of a cube is L into L into L, that is length into width into height. Suppose if I take this is of course like a cuboid. So this is length and this is width, this is height. So if I multiply length, width and height, I will get the volume, that is the space occupied by this cuboid. And if I take this as a cylinder, the cross section of a cylinder is like a circle. So just now we saw the area of a circle is pi r square. Multiply it with this height, pi r square h will give you the entire volume occupied by the cylinder in space. So the volume of a sphere. it is 4 by 3 pi r cube, where r is again the radius of sphere, and 1/3 pi r square h is the volume of a cone. So now, okay, these are all regular shaped, but if it is irregular shape, can we measure? Yes, of course. So if it is irregular shape, for example, see this. This is a curved line I took from A to B. So I used the thread like this and I spread it from A to B like this completely. Then I measured this thread on the scale. So it happens to be 15 centimeters. So like this we can find the length of a curved line. Okay, then how to find the area? For example, observe the slide. Here leaf is given and that leaf is kept over the graph paper. And you know, graph paper is having the checks and each square is 1 centimeter square. So after taking the edges, after drawing the border of the leaf, if you count how many number of squares, centimeter square, and even if you take the small squares, the mm squares, and you convert it into centimeter square, you will get area of the leaf. Now, how to find irregular shaped stone volume? For that, as shown in the slide, we take the measuring jar and water is filled it up with a level A, for example, and we immerse the stone inside the water. Naturally, the water level will be raised. So this is B, let us say. The difference of A and B will give you the volume of the irregular stone. Now, till now we saw different lengths and we already know the history of length, how they found. So even mass, if I say 5 kg, so I should know how much is 1 kg, because 5 kg is 5 times to this unit. Then how to find 1 kg? For that purpose, scientists, they prepared platinum iridium alloy cylinder, which is preserved at International Bureau of Weights and Measures in Paris. So this is prototype cylinder, the platinum iridium alloy cylinder, which is equal to 1 kg. So we take all the same mass as that of it, and that we do the measurements. Now, coming to this again, mass. How to find very large masses? During the construction, they purchase steel. So that steel is measured in tons. So you know how much is 1 ton? 1 ton is 1000 kg. And even for us, for mess, we are getting the rice bags from FCI. So you know each bag how much it is? It is measured in quintal. So 1 quintal equals to 100 kgs. And when you see the weight, the mass of your body, so it will be given in kgs. And if you go to a gold shop, there you can find a balance which can measure up to 0.001 milligram. So even that small measurements of weight also we can find. Coming to time. Generally our wristwatches, they give 1 second, the least that can be measured. And if you have seen, see when you are participating in leagues and inter-sports, inter-society sports and all, there when you are running in athletics, they use stopwatches. So where this stopwatch can measure up to 0.01 seconds of time. So now, till now we learned the how to measure length, mass and time. Now, for example, if I say doctor advised me to have a walk 2 kilometers. So, I can come out of my house and I can walk in any direction. But if I want to go to bank, which is again at 2 kilometers away from my house, then I should follow particular direction. I cannot go in any direction after completing my 2 kilometers, then I cannot search where is my bank. So, to reach bank, because it is situated in some direction, only in that direction I need to go. So, for that purpose, in physics, we have the physical quantities divided into scalars and vectors. So, the displacement is a scalar. Just now we saw an example of curved line. So, observe this paper. Here the object is made to move from A to B and the shortest distance is drawn by a line AB. So, this shortest distance, this is called as displacement. AB is a displacement. Where it is shown with an arrow, arrow length gives us magnitude and direction, the arrow tip gives us direction. And as I just now measured the curved line, this entire path will give me the distance. So, when I measure distance, each time I will be going in different directions. So, distance is a scalar. Displacement is a vector. If I say a car is moving with 40 kilometers per hour, 40 kilometers per hour, I am mentioning only the magnitude. So, this is a scalar. If I say a car is moving with 40 kilometers per hour towards east, here I am mentioning the direction. So, this is a vector quantity. And we have number of examples of scalars and vectors. For example, the mass is a scalar, density is a scalar, temperature, pressure, energy, work done, power, all these are scalar quantities. And displacement, velocity and force, acceleration, electric field, all these are vector quantities. So, coming here, you can observe on a graph a car is moving. So, this car has started from 0, time is taken on x-axis, velocity is taken on y-axis. So, this is just like when you start from your our schools to go your home. So, always you can't maintain the same speed. Whenever traffic is there, you will be slowed down. And whenever red signal falls, you will be stopped, and when again green signal comes, you will be moving. So, throughout your distance, sometimes you are increasing your speed and sometimes it is becoming as 0 and again it is increasing. So, here you can see, if the observe the slide, you can see in a fixed time intervals of 2 minutes, 2 seconds, sorry, the upper one, the car is moving with 2 meters. In next 2 seconds, again 2 meters. In next 2 seconds, again 2 meters. That means in equal intervals of time, the car is moving equal displacements. So, this is said as uniform motion. And in the below example, if you see the same intervals of time, 2 minutes, but this time the car travelled for 2 meters and for next 2 minutes 5 meters. Next 2 minutes only 3 meters. Next 2 seconds 4 meters. So, for equal time intervals, it travelled different distances. So, this is non-uniform speed. So, okay, as we are knowing about the speed, why not let us see the speed of wind. See, during the storms, during the flood season, you may be listening to the news and all that in particular direction the winds are blowing with 120 kilometers per hour. So observe the slide, the anemometer, it gives the wind speed, and the wind vane, it shows the direction in which the winds are blowing. And during this season only we place the rain gauge. So rain gauge is the instrument which measures the rainfall. Okay, now coming to this acceleration. Just now we did an example with the car. So I will give you one more example. Imagine that you are standing on a platform and the train is starting. So when train starts, slowly it starts. Between two stations, it moves with very large speed, and when it is reaching station, again it slows down. So when it is starting from one station, slowly it is accelerating, it is increasing its speed, it is increasing its velocity. So this is called acceleration. And when it is slowing down with respect to time, the speed will be decreasing. So that we call it as retardation or negative acceleration. So how to find the motion of any object, motion of any body? So for that we have three equations. Those are called as equations of motion. The first one is V is equal to U plus AT. Second one is S is equal to UT plus half AT square. Third one is V square minus U square equals to 2AS, or it can be written as V square equals to U square plus 2AS, where V gives final velocity and U gives the initial velocity, S for displacement, A for acceleration, T for time. I will give you one example. Suppose an object started with say 0 meters per second, that is it started slowly, that means its initial velocity is 0, and after travelling for a time of 10 seconds it acquired a velocity of 10 meters per second. So where that 10 meters per second is its final velocity within a time of 10 seconds. So you can calculate the acceleration. Once you got acceleration, you can calculate the displacement travelled by the object, etc. Now, till now we learned about the measurements in kinematics. Just let us move on to the different topic. Suppose if we get fever, we have to measure our body temperature, isn't it? So now let us move on to heat. So if I ask you what are the different sources of heat, the first one we say is sun. Next, second one, the natural one is interior of the earth. So interior of the earth is nearly 6000 degrees centigrade, the temperature. So these two are the natural sources. Next we have by the chemical actions, that is if we firewood, coal and the gas, when it is burned, so heat is given out. And with simple mechanical energy, if you rub your hands like this, heat is generated. And with the nuclear reactors, which give out heat energy due to its radiation, around a large area of nuclear reactor, there will be very much heat generated. And you have even iron boxes, you might be pressing your uniforms in schools using our iron boxes. In iron box, not only in iron box, the ovens or the toasters or geysers or the heaters, where electrical energy is converted to heat energy. So now coming to an example, if I hold a cool drink bottle, let us say, and if I hold or if a hot cup of tea, I say this one is cool and this one is hot. But if you ask me how much cool or how much hot it is, then how to say? See, for example, if I draw a line, okay, say I don't have a board here, I'll take one more example. Hot and cool are relative terms. Relative means unless we compare it with someone, we cannot say it. I'll take the example of your mother. See, your mother may be mother to you, and your mother may be pinny to someone, and your mother may be atta to someone, and your mother may be grandmother to someone. So, with respect to that relative, the mother relation is changing. In the same way, when we compare it with some other quantity, then we can say how much hot it is and how much cool it is. For that purpose, we use thermometers, where thermometers will show the temperature. And in general, thermometers we see in our school or the clinical thermometer, the laboratory thermometer, and 6 maximum minimum thermometer. The 6 maximum minimum thermometer is used to measure the highest temperature in a day and lowest temperature in a day. So, you might have seen in papers maximum temperature and minimum temperature, that is measured with the help of 6 maximum and minimum thermometer. So, in my hand I hold a clinical thermometer. So, this is a clinical thermometer. Children, you are all aware of it. So, your staff nurse may be using it when you are suffering from fever. So, coming to scales, we have 3 different scales: Fahrenheit scale, Celsius scale, Kelvin scale. So, the thermometers, generally the 2 liquids are used in thermometers, either mercury or alcohol. So, these thermometers, they work on the principle liquids expand on heating. Liquids expand on heating. Okay, let me take one example. You might have seen the rice grains, how much size they are, and after cooked, they will be bulged. In the same way, you take the example of a potato. After cooked, it is bulged. An egg, before cooking and after cooked, the size is increased. And even milk, see, when you put it on a stove and when it reaches a particular temperature, the milk will be completely expanding entire the vessel. So, liquids expand on heating. Based on this principle, thermometers works. So, these thermometers, they have the lower fixed point as the freezing of water, that is 0 degree Celsius, and upper fixed point, that is the boiling point of water, that is 100 degrees Celsius. So, children, please remember, when we say scale, we can call it as degree Celsius, degree Fahrenheit, but Kelvin. We should not say it as degree Kelvin, it is wrong. We should say only it is 300 Kelvin, that's it. But if I say 30 degrees centigrade, if I say 180 degree Fahrenheit, but if I say Kelvin, it is 323 Kelvin, enough. So, that is the care must be taken when we are saying the units. So, in Kelvin scale, minus 273 is taken as absolute 0, where the pressure and volume of gas becomes 0. So, that you will learn in higher classes. So, the Celsius scale and Kelvin scale are similar, the gradation is same, But here 0 degrees Celsius to 100 degrees Celsius, here it is minus 273 to 373 Kelvin. But coming to Fahrenheit, the same 0 degrees Celsius is considered as 32 degree Fahrenheit, and the upper limit is considered as 212 degree Fahrenheit, where the division of units is 180 divisions. Whereas in Celsius scale we have only 100 divisions. In Fahrenheit scale 180 divisions are there. So, next, how to measure the quantity of heat? So, let me take one example. Observe the paper here. Here I took two vessels. So, let me say this as vessel A and this as vessel B with 1 kg of mass. So, I take in first vessel 1 kg of rice to cook. Same containers, they are vessels. Same amount of heat is given by the burner, by the stove. And in the second vessel, I will take 3 kg of rice. So, if I am taking m here, 3 times to m in the second vessel. So, which vessel requires more quantity of heat? Obviously, the 3 kg mass, it needs more quantity of heat to cook. That means the required amount of heat that is required to cook the mass is directly proportional. So, Q is proportional to M. So, now we came to know that okay, quantity of heat is dependent on mass. Next, let us see on what other quantity it depends. Here again observe, I took two vessels A and B, same vessels again, and same amount of water is taken. In vessel 1, that is at room temperature, in both the vessels water is at room temperature, that is, let us imagine 30 degrees centigrade. In vessel A, I want to raise the water temperature till 50 degrees centigrade. In vessel B, I want to raise the temperature till 80 degrees centigrade. That means, in vessel A, I need 20 degrees centigrade Celsius rise in the temperature, and here I need 50 degrees Celsius. So, the degree of hotness or coldness is temperature. So, this temperature I want to rise. Obviously, which vessel needs more quantity of heat? Vessel B. Vessel B needs more quantity of heat to raise its temperature. So, the quantity of heat is directly proportional to delta T, that is the rise in the temperature. So, now we saw the temperature is dependent on two quantities, one is mass, the second one is the difference in temperature. Now, you observe the slide. Here the quantity of heat is proportional to m delta T. To remove the proportional sign, we used a constant C, where C is called the specific heat. Here, if you see the diagram in the slide, a stove is there and two spoons of different materials are placed in it. One is metal spoon, the other one is wooden spoon. Same quantity of heat is given, but after 10 minutes, which will be easier for you to touch or to hold? Yes, it is wooden one. Wooden one will be easier for you to hold it. See, I will tell you this with simple example. I will give you 1 kg of leafy vegetables, say palakor anukundam, and 1 kg of tur dal, kandipappu anukundam. So 1 kg of leafy vegetables and 1 kg of tur dal, and I asked you to cook. So which one needs more quantity of heat to cook? Yes, it is nothing but tur dal. Kandipappu, it requires more amount of heat, the more amount of heat to cook. See, leafy vegetables, they are having water content and they have minerals in it, so they cook fast. But these dal, it is having proteins which are very complex bonding, so to break up, it needs more quantity of heat. So, after here, see, when I say measurement, we can say the distance, the kinematics we measured, now the heat we measured. We can also measure sound, light, electricity and all. So, let me take the example of sound. The audible range which we can hear is 20 hertz to 20,000 or 20 kilohertz. So, this is the audible range, 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Within these frequencies, we can hear the sounds. But if it is less than that, those are infrasounds, infrasonics, which the hippopotamus, the elephants, they use such infrasonics. And above this, we have ultrasounds. So these are used by bats and other animals. And even ultrasonics, we use the in industrial purpose and medical purpose, they are used ultrasonics. Next, coming to the decibels. See, you know what is music and what is noise. See, music means when we hear, it gives the pleasant feeling to us, that is music. And suppose, for example, when teacher is not there in your class, everyone will be shouting. So it will not be rhythmic. So it is very noisy class. So that is noise. And you might have seen in the papers, after Diwali day, they will say, they will give in particular area so much of decibels and in particular area so many decibels, like this. So if you observe this table, you can see the green where the whisper, where low sounds are there, they are pleasant to our ear. And even yellow region, observe the slide, yellow region is also safe for us. But once it crosses 85 decibels, so the red region, the jet engine, the cranes, all these do very loud noise up to 140 decibels, which is very harmful to our ear. So it may cause hypertension, it may cause the sleeplessness. So these are all the harmful effects of sound pollution. Now coming to light. Here, as I told you in the beginning, the SI unit, the fundamental units, light is measured in candela. So similarly, I am introducing you two more quantities which are measured, the light is measured, that is lumen and lux. When when the bulb is there, the bulb will be giving out its light. So that amount of light, that flux that is coming per unit area, that is measured in the lumen. And the illumination, see, when all these lights are falling on me, I am illuminated, you are able to watch me. So this illumination is measured in lux. So last but not the least, children, the TSAT channel, you are able to watch me and listen me. So this is possible only with the electricity. So you might have seen the electric bills. There they will mention the units. So 1 unit is 1 kilowatt hour. So when we spend 1000 watts of power in 1 hour, so that is taken as 1 unit. So kilo means 1000, watt means joules per second, and again hour, 1 hour is 3600 second. So the second gets cancelled, it comes to be 36 into 10 to the power of 5 joules, or I can say 3.6 into 10 to the power of 6 joules. So this much of energy when we spend, it is considered as 1 unit, that is 1 kilowatt hour. So now I thank TSAT channel for making it possible to us even in this pandemic time, the lockdown period. So I can say this as these people e-connected us, electronically connected us. So I thank TSAT channel and I thank our whole team which are working behind this. Thank you very much.